All right, everybody, welcome again. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We've got a lot of people to get through, a lot of updates to hear, and looking forward to it. It's my second week in charge, so to speak, so there's no more excuses for me. It's time to get going, but I appreciate you coming. First up, I know Coach Jery Schafer has to get moving, so he's going to come up, talk about a good weekend. I think in Gillette there was 2 school records, 22 personal records, so the indoor track and field teams had a good weekend, and he brought an athlete with him as well. So Coach Jery Schafer, first up.
Thanks, Nate. We did have a good weekend this weekend. It was a little larger meet. We had some University of Wyoming athletes. We had Colorado Mesa, Colorado Mines, as well as our usual suspects. So there were about 10 teams there. And probably the largest meet we've been at. The rec center in Gillette, Wyoming was a great venue. They've got a beautiful 200-meter indoor track that looks like about half the size of our outdoor track. They have exactly the same Mondo lane configuration with the blue and the gold, and so it was a kind of familiar from that standpoint. Our kids have run on that color combination of track before, so but it was a great venue. Shadron and Black Hill State co-hosted and did a really nice job. We were just very lucky, very fortunate to have a great day there as well. Like Nate said, we had 2 school records. McKenzie Butcher, by more than a foot, increased the 20-pound weight throw, women's 20-pound weight throw record. And then Nick Alberts in the 400 meters broke the men's 400 meters indoors. And so those were our school records. Nate is a sophomore, and we're pretty excited with his progress since last year. He's really coming along. Several placers, besides the 22 personal bests that we had several that placed fairly high. Lillian Temple was second in the high jump. She's knocking on the door for a national qualifier. It's right there. We just have to get that timing down a little bit more, and she may be headed for the big show. So we're working at that. She also finished 4th in the triple jump, 5th in the pentathlon on Friday, and where she had a PR in the 800 indoors. And then she was part of our 4x4 team that finished 5th as well. Sam Hill in the pole vault finished 3rd. And Brian Freed, you saw Brian last week, he was 3rd in the shot put and the weight throw this week. Anna Hainline was 3rd in the 200 and 4th in the 60 meters, and both those were PRs for Anna as well. Nick's PR in the 400 was good for 4th place, as well as 4th on the 4x4. And McKenzie's school record was good enough for 4th place in the weight throw. And then rounding out our scorers, Brittany Wood finished 4th in the 5K, and she also did that in a personal best time. So questions for me before I bring up McKenzie?
Where's Brian right now?
Brian got his provisional mark 3 weeks ago, and he ranked 16th that week, and he's steadily dropping just a little bit at a time. He was 18th last week, and this week he's 19th. So Brian's got to get about a foot to be assured of getting that trip to the national in the men's 35-pound weight throw. And we're working at that. Hopefully that comes this week. He's been fairly steady. We just hasn't had that next jump, and so that's what we're looking at for him. Other questions? Tim? The Nationals are in North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I don't remember which of the schools are hosting that, but it is in Winston-Salem, and that'll be the 14th, 15th of March, so the end of spring break week. Well, let me bring up McKenzie Butcher. McKenzie You can ask her questions about what year she is and those kinds of things, and she'll just kind of chat with you there.
Hello, my name's McKenzie Butcher. I've been having a pretty decent season this year for the women's track and field team. I broke the school record and stole it from one of my colleagues, Corey Christensen. It's been a really good season, and I'm looking forward to this meet this weekend. Do you have any questions?
What's your major?
I'm an environmental engineer.
What year are you?
I'm a junior, despite what the PowerPoint says. Yeah.
What other events do you do?
I do shot put and weight in the indoor season. In the outdoor season, I do hammer and shot. I'm also maybe looking at doing a little bit of disc this year, seeing how my practice throws are going. Maybe I'll get into that.
Talk about how much of a challenge it is indoor-wise. You're a thrower, obviously, so you don't have all the, it's different when you're outside, obviously. Talk about the challenge of being a thrower indoor.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a challenge. If you haven't seen our facility, it's located over there. It's a little difficult. We have put a new top on the ring, which has made life a little bit easier. But it's really hard because we throw against a net every single day, so you don't really know how far your marks are going, if what you're doing is really improving what you're supposed to be doing, because you can only tell what it does in the first 20 seconds of your throw. So that's a little bit difficult. So when we go to meets, you don't really know where you're going to be at. But we're making it work, and it gets a little cramped in there. Occasionally, we have runners and golfers and everybody else's stuff. But yeah, we're making it work, and hopefully we can maybe look to getting a new facility someday in the future.
What are some of your career goals?
What I really want to do in the future is I want to travel outside the country and work on water reclamation and water restoration in different countries. And I'm maybe playing around with getting my graduate degree also.
Any more questions for McKenzie? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it is a little cramped in there. I was in there watching practice yesterday. Thought I was going to get hit by something. It's very, very close quarters. Coach Collins, Coach Stacy Collins, had a big week last week. National Signing Day was last Wednesday. And as of last Wednesday, he was 34 out of 34 on the guys he was going after. Hopefully that hasn't changed. So Coach Collins, I'm sure, has a pretty nice update for everybody.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate everybody coming out here again this week. Obviously, an exciting week anytime it's signing date. We were able to sign 34 guys. We have a couple other commitments that once their paperwork's across that we'll get them. So we've added a running back. We've added a defensive back to the roster, and we're still going to bring in a couple, at least one high school quarterback as we get going. But a very, very strong class, a very well-balanced class. We've gotten to a place in our program where we're not trying to overload one side of the ball or one position or another. So able to get a well-rounded class, fitted some needs with a handful of transfers, and then really the bulk of our players are high school players, and they stem from a lot of different areas and a lot of different states. I want to thank Brad Bloom for all the time he had. It was a pretty neat deal on signing date, and I got a lot of feedback from coaches and other people all across the U.S. on our open access signing day party that we had, and people got a chance to see it as guys came across and keep up to date with what's going on with the Hardrockers. But very excited about this recruiting class, added to what we have here in the program. We've been working hard. We were at it again this morning at 6 a.m. with our guys. They lift 4 days a week. Tuesdays and Thursday mornings we go at 6 a.m., work on speed, conditioning, and every Friday we do a team building activity. So it's been a good off season. We're excited about where it's at. Any questions I can answer for you about our signing class or anything that's going on in our program right now?
Hey, Coach. I know maybe you talked about a lot of players on your press conference and you mentioned them all. Are there any of these freshmen? I know maybe some of the JUCOs will contribute right away. Do you see any of these freshmen contributing right away?
I think we'll have some freshmen. The last 2 years we have. I think you look at every program across the United States, there's going to be freshmen that play. What we do is we go through fall camp. We sit down with each one of them at the end of that third week of fall camp as we head into game week and really get a true eval, because the recruiting process is a crazy one. You do all your research, you watch as much tape as you can, try to watch them in person, but until you get them on your field, working your drills, going through your schemes, how quick can they pick it up on that piece? How physically ready are they to play at the college level? Those are hard questions to answer, but we added a lot of talent. These guys are certainly talented enough to come in and compete right away, and at our place, it's always open competition. Our best players are going to play, so I'm excited to see how these guys pan out when they get here on the field, and certainly it's bolstered our depth and will create competition at positions, and that's how you continue to develop a program.
Yeah, and two guys at tight end are 6'4", 6'5", 2.24. Those are men.
Yeah, they're a little bit different than you and me covering them right there, Ronnie. Yeah. But no, we're excited. We're really excited about the tight end positions we brought in. We're able to really hit a couple different. We got an online tight end. We got a guy that we can flex out in athletic position. We got a guy who's mobile. So all three of those guys, I thought our tight end position we recruited as well as anywhere this year. But there's a handful of guys. We add a lot of skill, a lot of speed on that piece, and also added some depth on our O&D line. And those are all important areas as we head into our GNAC first year at GNAC competition.
Two of your better players last season had some injuries. How's that coming along as far as they're going to be back next year? They can make recovery. How's it working out?
Yeah, certainly. We got a handful of guys that are slinged up, and we hit that 6 a.m. workout. I think we had 8 guys that have had some kind of postseason surgery on that, and that's part of the game. The big deal is getting on that early, making sure we get them, get the surgery done, get it worked, and get back going. So it's also an opportunity for some guys sitting behind them, and I think that's one of the things I'm most excited about as we start our spring ball here at the end of March, is watching some of these guys that maybe haven't gotten as many reps or as many opportunities as some of the older guys, and see where they're going to be after we get our 15 practices, finish with our alumni spring game, on April 26th. So it'll be neat. It's good to watch competition. With injury comes opportunity, and these guys are certainly going to get an opportunity this spring. So we're going to have a variation of both. Me and Nate are going to sit down and meet with some alumni, but we will play. The alumni will be out here, and they're going to pad up and play some, and then we're also going to work a spring game with it. So we haven't got that format down pat yet, but we will, and we'll get that straightened up. Make sure we can knock Ronnie and the boys around a little bit, and then go after each other a little bit too. So we'll try to double dip on that day. I'll bet you are.
Coach, you also released the schedule coming up here.
Yeah, excited about the schedule. We have 2014 schedule. I think the great thing about this schedule, it's an 11-game schedule, 6 home, 5 on the road, but more importantly, 10 of the 11 are Division II games. And I think we're at the point in our program as we've made this transition to Division II that we can play this Division II schedule. Very, very balanced schedule. We got a couple long trips on the West Coast, but like I said, anytime you get 6 games at home, 10 overall Division II games. Will be the first time we're in a conference, a Division II conference, so I know our players are excited about that, but I was pleased with the way the schedule came together. And really the 2015 schedule is pretty similar. Southwest Baptist is the only one that's not on it, so we have one open date in 2015. We'll certainly work on getting that filled, but it's an exciting schedule. We open up with Colorado Mines here at home on September 6th. M-Day will be September 20th versus Wisconsin River Falls, and we close out with 2 home games against Southwest Baptist and then Western Oregon at home. So great schedule 2014, and we're certainly excited about it. Any questions on our schedule? It'll be interesting. Colorado Mines is a pretty good football team. Coach Stitt's done a great job down there, and they play well early, and we seem to keep playing them early. So we got to get that fixed. They'll be very sound. Azusa Pacific won the GNAC last year, so they'll certainly be the defending champions and the one that everybody will have a bullseye on. It'll be interesting to see where Central Washington is at. They've been a perennial power out in that area. They've went through a coaching change out there. Simon Fraser University's went through a coaching change. Humboldt State had a down year last year, but they've been really solid. And Western Oregon has been just very, very consistent and very solid Division II program. So it's an exciting schedule with good balance. Some teams we've played, William Jewell, that we've got to know pretty well, played them the last couple years and signed another 2-year deal with them. Southwest Baptist is a 1-year deal, but they've been in the MIAA conference, moved over there in William Jewell's conference now, the Great Lakes Valley Conference, and they're doing a nice job. So it's a good blend of Division II football, and certainly we have the battle for the 129th time for the Homestake Trophy up in Spearfish. So I'm excited about it. I think it's a great schedule, and we're really heading in the direction as we spend these 2 years in the GNAC and then work our way into the RMAC. It's an exciting time here.
Do you have any night games and things for the GNAC, or can you play at night?
Yeah, GNAC can play at night. We will play at Humboldt State. They always play a night game down there. We will open up with our first 2 home games. Colorado Mines and Wisconsin River Falls will be evening games on those ones. And I think Azusa, I got to double check. I haven't seen the times on that. That might be another night game. They play down just outside of Los Angeles. And then one last note, one of our assistant coaches, Gary Hyman, received an opportunity. He took a job at Texas A&M University as the assistant special teams quality control position. As happens in this profession, when you hire great coaches, and anybody that's been around Coach Hyman, he's tremendous. His energy is contagious, and you never replace a guy like that. But extremely excited for him. He's got a great opportunity to work for a guy there that he knew real well, and that actually hired from UTEP. So we're in the process of hiring a wide receiver coach, recruiting coordinator right now, and working through HR on that piece, and interviewing guys on the phone and in the person. And so as soon as we get an announcement on that, we'll let you know. But excited for Coach Hyman, and also excited to bring somebody else in here and round out our receiving core, and excited about the guys I've been able to talk to in that piece. All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks, Coach. Up next, in for Ryan Larson is his assistant, Ketty Paula, because the women's basketball program just had a win last night over Texas A&M Commerce by 5, a nice win last night. And please welcome Ketty Paula to give us an update on women's basketball.
All right, well, thank you for this opportunity to talk. Ryan doesn't let me speak very often. But I did notice Coach Schafer had a cheat sheet. I don't know what his excuse is. Mine is baby brain, so I can't remember stats as well. But yeah, we're going to recap the Texas trip. My girls are actually in the air right now with Coach Larson. I'll go pick them up in about an hour from the airport. But our first game in Texas was against Texas Women's University. I don't know if you had a chance to watch or listen. I know I was watching from the comfort of my couch with my dog in my lap. But, the game started slow. It was interesting to listen to the commentators on the radio actually talk about your team. And so they would agree with me. The game started really slow for both teams, especially offensively. Going into halftime, we're actually just down 3, so things were okay. We're kind of in the grind. And then it got away from us in the second half. Like Coach Larson has said many times, turnovers have kind of been our Achilles heel, and that was the same situation in this game. We had 20 turnovers, and then another big thing for the trip to Texas was rebounding. We knew rebounding was going to be huge, and we got out-rebounded by 11, and that was kind of the story of that game. Ended up losing by 23. Coach Larson did mention the girls are pretty down after that game, kind of down on themselves, just about their individual performances. And so he did his best job to get them all fired up because we had another game coming up in just a couple days. So our second game was against Texas A&M Commerce. We actually got a W, won by 5, 60-65. And it was a much-needed win. Just for, like I was saying, just for the morale, just to boost the girls' morale, and obviously not get swept while we were in Texas. Overall, some performances I'd like to point out. In the Texas Women's University game, we actually had 3 girls in double figures offensively, and also in our game against Commerce, we had 3 girls in double figures offensively, which is really positive for us. In the Texas Women's University game, Devin Ashey had a solid performance like she has had many times this year. She had 10 points, 7 rebounds. Megan Rohr added 15 points to the game, and then Jessica Scholl had 13. And then at Texas A&M Commerce, Devin again came up big. She started off a little cold, but ended up with 18 points and 8 rebounds, and really carried us offensively. We did a really nice job in the paint that game. I can't remember exactly, but we had at least 35 points in the paint, and that was a big difference in the game. Jessica Scholl once again had a nice performance, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, and 4 assists. And, you know, if they were here today, I would have Jessica come and speak. She just had a nice weekend in Texas. I was really impressed with the way she played in both games. And then also rounding out the third person that had double digits for us was Alexis Long. She had a really solid game, 15 points, 4 assists, and she went 50% from the three-point line, 3 of 6, which was nice to see. She had gone cold a little bit, but she's warming back up for us. I would bring up Jessica again. That stat line she had was pretty phenomenal. And the biggest thing that stands out to me was the 9 rebounds, because that was a big thing we were stressing that game. And then her 5 steals. And basically, it was her offensive boards and her steals that led to the 11 points she had. And that's good for her to realize that sometimes those little things, that's what gets you going offensively. Last note with the Texas A&M Commerce game, it was probably one of the only games that we had a positive assist to turnover ratio. We had 1 more assist than we did turnovers, and the end result, we end up winning the game by 5. And that's a big key to winning, is cutting down your turnovers, but also just to have that many assists. That was really a positive thing for us. So with that, I will open it up for questions. Yes, sir.
Why did you make the trip?
Oh, I was unable to attend the trip because I'm 37 weeks pregnant, and my doctor advised me not to fly anymore. So I had to send Coach Larson off on his own. We sent our female trainer, Dawn Torkelson, with him to be his wingman and help out in any way she could. She actually did a nice job. She'd send me pictures of the box score every media timeout so I could feel connected to the game. And I would send her comments every now and then, and she would say, "Do you want me to share those with Coach Larson?" I said, "No, that's all right. He's already thinking the same thing. You don't need to tell him." Or I would say a comment about a player, and she's like, "Do I need to go tell her that?" "No, I'll talk to him after the game." But it was interesting watching the games or listening to the games from home. It was interesting, but at the same time, it was hard. I would have liked to have been there. Coach Larson and I kind of worked out a deal. He knew that this was going to happen, that I was going to not be able to travel in that last month. So he knew it was coming, poor guy, but he's making the most of it. I do have duties. Even though I'm not there, I still help with the scouting. I scout the first game of the trip, and then I can kind of prepare him, and then he can scout the second game of the trip. So it's not like I'm just on vacation carrying around a big baby. I'm still working from home. Any other questions? This is a good time to ask questions about Coach Larson if you have any. I told him it might turn into a roast, but if you don't have any, that's fine. He's safe then. All right, well, thank you so much.
Last but definitely not least is Coach Jason Henry. The men are getting ready to take a trip to Texas as well. Going to play Dallas Baptist on Monday. Going to play Southeastern Oklahoma State on Tuesday. Coach Jason Henry.
All right. Feels like I haven't been here for a couple weeks, which I haven't. Wait a second. No, it has been a couple weeks. I was up recruiting in North Dakota this past week. We had some time off, and I told a lot of people, and I told a couple people here already too, is I was up there and going through how the season's going, all the questions you get asked and all those kind of things. And I said, yeah, the worst part of the whole schedule, or being independent and all the things that we've talked about the last year and a half, is the fact we played 5 games in 7 days and now we have 2.5 weeks off. That's just not good for when you're trying to get things going. Obviously, it's tough to play 5 games basically in a row, and then of course, good, bad, or otherwise, then you don't get to play for 2.5 weeks. So it did give us some time to, as a coaching staff, to get out on the road a little bit more. Obviously, when you're playing games all the time, you don't get a chance to get on the road. So I was basically gone all week. Coach Glenn was around to do. We tried to give him a few days off here and there, do some individual workouts, but he was able to take that, and it worked out pretty good. So. But now this week, we're getting prepared for heading down to Texas again. That trip that we I don't think I got to talk about any of it because we were gone. We were down in Kansas and in Nebraska before we to start out those 5 games, and played a really good Fort Hays team, and I don't know. I think they're probably going to be one of the top teams, if not top 3 teams in the conference when it's all said and done, and they're right there right now. And we had some opportunities. We played pretty well, did some good things, and the next night went over to Kearney. And, kind of the same thing. And I've never felt as bad for a team and for guys. We were down in Kearney, and I'm not a big guy that complains about officiating and worries about this and worries about that and when it's done. But you could definitely see the frustration on our guys with officiating, with, different situations in the games and that kind of stuff. And we have to do a better job. We've been on the road the whole second semester. We have to do a better job, especially this last couple weekends, of just getting through some of that stuff. We know it's not going to be easy. Hopefully it's not that bad or that hard to fight through some of that stuff, but that was kind of, I think, the difference in it, just the mental aspect of it, and it kind of took us out of what we were doing. And then, of course, you miss a couple shots, and away it goes. So that has been one of the things. We haven't been able to get over the hump. We have a lead pretty much 3/4 of the game, play a 5-minute stretch that's not good, play a 10-minute stretch, whatever the case is. That's kind of been our MO this year, and we're definitely got to fix some of those things. Then we turned around and played at home our last game against Montana Tech, our last home game, and actually ran into a buzzsaw, to be honest. We played well. Our seniors, we knew it was our last time here. Everybody kind of played their tails off and did a lot of good things, and we ran into a team that had beat some top 25 teams the last couple games. They got probably one of the best kids in the conference, eligible at semester time, so they'd only lost 1 game since he got back, and just you could just see the confidence, with them, and we definitely ran into them at a bad time and lost by a couple points. Still had some opportunities to win. Obviously, we did some good things on our home court. And that kind of thing, but did struggle down the stretch and didn't make the plays that we needed to make in that one. Then we turn around and jump on the bus after that game at about 11 o'clock at night and drive through the night and get down to Texas, which actually wasn't that bad a trip. We got done with it, and we talked about that going, that's not a bad way to do it, is if the bus drivers can do it for you. But jumping in the bus and driving through the night, because we went down to New Mexico last year, and it was about a 14-hour trip, 13-hour trip, and we left at 7 or 8 in the morning and drove through the day, and it just felt like, well, it was forever, but it felt like and was forever. And by the time you got there at night, we didn't stop, we didn't practice, and just drove, and we drove, and we were not very good at all in that game. And so I wanted to try something different, and I didn't get to sleep much, but our guys, believe it or not, college guys don't have a problem sleeping anywhere, it seems like. So they were in the back and out for about probably 12 of the 14 hours, So I think it was okay. Problem is one of our guys, and he's been hurting a little bit, but Trevor Zocker woke up and, like I said, he's kind of struggling the last couple days, or a couple days prior to that with some back issues. And being on the bus and in that cramped position, and I think was a big part of why he's basically been out since then. And, it's a big loss for us. He'd been playing well. He'd averaged about 15 points a game going into that. And I don't even know if he scored in that game. He played a few minutes. We tried to get him loosened up and just couldn't do it. And then he didn't even play the next game and hasn't even practiced until yesterday again. So, that was frustrating part of it. And I think it was because of the drive and that kind of thing. But we didn't do too bad. We were down there and competed. Should have won, to be honest. Lost by a couple down there. A couple guys made some plays, and we didn't. So, that was the difference, to go through all that and have a chance at the end to win. That's what we're looking for. Problem is, we got to get over the hump. That's what we keep talking about, is finding a way to win those games. Then the next night, played, which all of you have seen, with Eastern New Mexico, and they have one of the best players in the I think in the country, a little point guard. We face guarded him basically the whole game here and double teamed him and did everything to get it out of his hands. And then, of course, the genius coach I am, and said, okay, let's play our base defense. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's make, see what they're going to do, because they've been preparing all the time for us guarding them that way and doing this and that. And he hadn't been shooting the ball as well. I think he was shooting almost 48% from the three-point line last time we played him. And it had dropped off substantially. It's down to like 38%, which means he was probably only shooting about 20%. So I thought, okay, we can finally keep him in front. Sure enough, the first 3 possessions, he hits threes, and it wasn't because we weren't guarding him. It was just, he's a good player and knocked him down. And then, of course, we, did our normal defense against him and things after that. And we were right there, the rest of the way. And, that was kind of the difference of how we started the game. Another kid, jumped in and had a basket too, and started out 4 for 4, 5 for 5, and it was trouble after that. So that's kind of our quick glimpse of 5 games in 7 days. Now we have coming up here, we go down to Dallas Baptist. We play them on Monday, and then Southeast Oklahoma, like Nate said, on Tuesday. And 2 very good teams again. They're not in the Lone Star teams. One's in the Heartland, one's in the Great West, but they're still very good players. They're probably not as deep as those Lone Star teams, but have some very good athletes. Got guys to knock them down shots, and both those teams are playing very well. So it's probably more like the Cameron that we saw down there. As far as the kind of team that they are, got some size and that kind of stuff. But we got 3 games left, and then we go to Denver after that and play Johnson Wales. And not that I'll be disappointed, but our expectations are pretty high. We've had a couple good weeks of practice now, a good day yesterday again, and went some individuals today. And I know our guys want to finish strong. We've struggled as far as the wins and losses this year, but they're still there. They're giving everything they have in practice. We've had a number of injuries lately, a lot of sick kids. We got 3 guys out basically right now with the Shanelac kid, which we've talked about a few weeks ago. He's been out for a few weeks. Then another point guard, Eric Seabury, has been out, both with a couple knee injuries, and Trevor Zocker's been out, and then Jordan Dick got hurt last week too. So we're kind of slim a little bit on the guards, but we have other guys that I'm very confident in that will step up and do just fine. So we're excited about that part of it. Any questions for me before I bring Erron up here and talk about his life and girlfriends and stuff?
You want to mention Michael's soon-to-be milestone?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mike Dietz had a great game. Shoot, he had I don't know what he had, 25, 30 points and 10 rebounds or something one of the games, and just a great weekend. He's one of the guys that, he redshirts last year, knowing that we have a chance to be pretty good again this year. Obviously, the schedule wasn't ideal by any means, and haven't got the wins that we wanted and that kind of stuff. So he's been as disappointed as anybody, but still plugging through it and absolutely plays his tail off. Every single possession, and that's what's been nice on both ends of the floor. And he had some huge games, and that's what kind of stinks when you got guys that do that, have huge games, and it goes for naught when you don't get the win. But he's at, I think, 997 for scoring. I think he's 3 points away from 1,000 points. He's only been with us for 3 years, so that's pretty exceptional. But he's an exceptional player, as we all knew coming in when we did get him a few years ago. So he's a guy that's graduating this year. He's only gone to school now for 5 years, and going to do a lot of great things. But on the basketball court, he's not only I think he's probably leading scorer, rebounder, all these kind of things, but he is 1,000-point, will be, hopefully, something doesn't happen, but, 1,000-point scorer, which is great for our program. Anything else? All right, awesome. Erron Collins is here today, and he'll talk a little bit, like I said, give you kind of the scoop on why he's here. He's a freshman for us this year from Mandan, North Dakota. Him and Trevor Zocker are basically our 2 freshmen that we brought in last year, and pretty high expectations for those 2 guys. They played in different schools and things, played on the same AAU team, and signed them early in the early signing period, and knew what we had, and very, very fortunate to get these 2 young men here. One of the things we talked about coming into our season was, we got some good experience. We got a lot of guys back. The one spot that you probably want to be experienced in is the spot we weren't, and that's the point guard spot. And that was one of the things with Erron coming in, that, his dad's been a coach, his mom and dad were both basketball players in college, and he's got that, background and things. And he's done a lot of great things for us this year as a true freshman, and we had other guys that have been in there, whether they're sophomores or juniors, but basically all of them have been new to our program. And that's one of the spots that we got to keep getting better at. And, it's going to be Erron that's doing it, and like I said, a couple of the other guys. But to have that opportunity as a freshman and play at the level that we're playing is great experience. And hopefully we can take that on and keep going with it as a sophomore, junior, and senior. But you don't get that very many times as an opportunity, especially at the point guard spot, to get that experience. And hopefully, Erron, it will be, right? Well received, and he will keep getting better, and all those things that we need to do with that point guard. So he's got a story, as everybody else does. It seems like that we've had up here this year. We've had some crazy deals, from guys that have been struck by lightning to guys that have been deaf, guys that I didn't realize you put them all together, and it's kind of crazy. So he'll tell you his crazy story, I guess, that he has, and his is probably way up here compared to the rest of these guys, so it's pretty incredible as well. So, Erron Collins, come on up.
All right, like Coach said earlier, I'm Erron Collins. I'm a freshman from Mandan, North Dakota. I'm a IS major, pre-med radiology. I guess my crazy story is the big reason why I came here and I'm in pre-med is because at the age of 4, I was diagnosed with Wilms tumor, which is a type of kidney cancer. And I guess through all that experience, I just really, wanted to do, like, with the people that helped me, like, kind of save my life. I wanted to do the same thing for someone else. So I met Coach and stuff, and I told him that, and he's like, this is a great school. I met with all the professors and stuff, and so I realized the big reason to come here was, outside of basketball, was for schooling. So, that's a big reason for me. And then, of course, with being able to room with Trevor and play with him, we've played, for the past, 3-4 years together, and then coming here, too. So, really excited to be here. Love the school. So, any questions?
How'd you get such a cool last name?
My dad. But it really is a cool, great last name.
Talk about the biggest difference between high school basketball and college basketball.
The speed of the game. It's how fast and strong everybody is. It's way different than high school. Especially in North Dakota, you play against 6'3", 6'4" post players, and I come here and you got 6'8", 6'9" post players who, they all play above the rim. So that was something that, took getting used to. And at every position, it's faster. Everyone's smarter. Every team has 5 guys on the court that, there's not a stiff. Everyone can do something. So that's a big difference from high school to college. Anything else?
What about the classroom? What was your biggest adjustment from high school to college?
The workload, I guess. You have 3 papers due next week. In high school, the teachers kind of work together to try not to assign that. But, here they challenge you a little bit to try to, get you ready for the workforce. So that was probably the biggest difference.
You live in the dorm?
I do. Peterson.
What's the biggest challenge of living in the student union in dorms, all athletes, roommates,
Sharing a bathroom. People, their hygiene's kind of, different than how I like to do mine. I like having everything really clean, but so that's probably the biggest difference, going to the bathroom, getting certain smells in there. But I don't know. Yeah, probably just that. It's just the hygiene part of it, and, you don't get a lot of privacy, but,
What do you think of the road trip to Texas, getting on the bus after the game, traveling that way? What was your impression of that whole trip?
It was something new. I fell asleep right away. I was not one to stay up. It was challenging. It was kind of hard on the body a little bit right away, but it was nice that you got to sleep through it. Also being on the bus too, kind of like the big thing I like about my teammates too is that everyone kind of just stopped for a second, did your homework and stuff. So I got to get a lot of homework done on the trip. And yeah, it's basically how it's just kind of one thing after another. You have to go and keep going, and then get focused for the game and get school done and try to get some sleep in between that. Anything else?
Thanks, Sharon.
All right, thank you.
I think that's the first time I've heard hygiene mentioned at a luncheon, thanks to Tim Henderson's question. That'll do it for today. Busy day. Want to appreciate all the coaches. Good luck to Coach Henry, Coach Schafer coming up here in the next week, and appreciate everybody coming. We'll be back next Tuesday, better than ever. And thanks for coming. Have a great day.